There is a fabulous collection of accessories that come with the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 2.0 sewing machine. So I'm going to show you what comes with it and then kind of where they all fit. So in the accessory box, which by the way you can slide off, and you can notice that there's little compartments for the feet, the bobbins can go in here. This can actually come out, well so can this, but also for the bobbins you can actually pull this part out and load your bobbins or get them all organized. And then two, sometimes you'll see me pull the accessory box off because back here is actually where the feed dogs are lower. There's a little lever on the back side. So I'm going to just slide this on completely here. And first off, let's talk bobbins. You'll have 5 bobbins. There's 4 that come with the machine, and there's usually 1 in the machine that is empty. So these are the normal, what is called class 15 plastic bobbins. And what that means to you is that they're actually really easy to find. So if you're looking for more bobbins, you want to find class 15 plastic bobbins. Now, just because you have bobbins from another machine does not mean they fit in here. If you're unsure, check with your local Pfaff store first, and they can give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down whether they are the same bobbin or not. Some are very similar, but they don't work if they're not the same kind. So bobbins are important, and I love having extra bobbins, so treat yourself to a couple bags of bobbins when you get your new machine. So the feet that come with the machine, there's a 0A foot that's on the machine when it comes, and then there is a 1A foot. So let me kind of show you the difference. They both have what's called the dual feed feature. So see this little opening in the back of the foot? That means that the dual feed can actually get pulled down and attached in the back here. And that's really one of the things that Pfaff is famous for. So the feet that have it, you do need to pull those down. The main difference is on this foot, there is a cutout for those heavier stitches, so they have a place to flow once they're stitched, where this one does not have that actual feature. So the machine will tell you what foot to put on the machine, depending on what stitch you have selected. If this information is not showing, touch the little lowercase I right here. That actually can turn it on and turn it off. When I turned the machine on, I actually had to, let me just get back to where I was here. There we go. Actually turn the eye on, and then I could see which foot I should have on for a straight stitch. So I'm going to slide that in as I talk about it. Stitches that are more your decorative stitches, they're going to call for the 2A foot. Now you notice this does not have the little cutout for the IDT or dual feed, but it does have the cutout on the back side for all those fancy decorative stitches. So again, watch the screen and it'll tell you when you need to have this foot on or the other feet for sewing. This foot is the 3 foot, also set up for the IDT. This little red marker is adjustable. So we use this foot for like an overlock foot, a blind hem foot, or any top stitching that you want to like set that and then have the needle kind of perfectly aligned to say a fold or an edge of the fabric. So this is very versatile foot. You'll see us using this quite a few times in the upcoming video. So that was the number 3 foot. There is a zipper foot. A zipper foot is foot number 4, and it looks kind of small, but it also has these 3 little points. Now here's a little tip. Make sure those 3 little points are pointing to the back of the machine. I have had people put this on backwards. Don't do that. All right, 3 little tritons point to the back. That's actually where the dual feed fits in, because this zipper foot can be attached both on the left side or the right side, depending on what side of zipper you're working on. Isn't that nice? And then the dual feed fits into the side that you're working on. So foot number 4 for the zipper feet, for the zippers. Now 2 extra feet come with this machine that are for you quilters. That's why it's called a Quilt Ambition. And that is number 1, you get a 1/4 inch foot, also with the IDT opening back here. So make sure it's engaged when you're using this foot. So the 1/4 inch is set up from the needle to the outside edge. Lots of markings to help keep you nice and even. Now, if you are looking for a 1/4 inch foot with a guide, that is a foot that's available for purchase. So again, head back to your local Pfaff store and they can hook you up with a 1/4 inch foot with a guide. Another foot that is quilting related is actually the free motion quilting foot. So nice, you don't have to buy these separately, but so this is included with your machine, and we will do a video on how to free motion quilt right here on this machine. So I'm going to put some of those extra accessories in the back area as we are talking about them. This is a buttonhole foot. So let me turn it around so it's the right way to attach it. This is attached to the front of the foot, and then everything back here sticks out behind the machine. Now this is where you can actually put a button right here and close it up, and then the machine will do the buttonhole exactly the size of the button positioned here. So wonderful foot. We're going to close that up and again put it into the back area of the machine. We are going to find that this machine does have a seam guide. So the seam guides do slide into the little hole. There's a little hole back here with a screw that would slide in, and then you can set that for any setting that you might want to really have perfect seam allowances. You do have a nice collection of needles. There is universal needles, there's a wing needle, stretch needle, jeans, and an embroidery needle. Now you're wondering what all these needles are? If you click right up here at the little eye, that will link over to our playlist of videos that are really short and sweet. And one video for each needle. You can definitely learn your needles and what they're used for, what fabrics you would use them for, that type of thing. So we'll talk needles throughout these videos, but you have a nice collection right at your fingertips when you get started. Screwdriver, this is to take these two screws out. You do need to get underneath this stroke plate and clean it out. That is very important, but that's what the screwdriver is for. Speaking of cleaning, you do get a brush, and on the other end of the brush is a seam ripper. So that's two little tools in one, very handy. Your vertical spool pin can actually be placed up here. If you are using a spool of thread that will sit up here, first put on one of the spool caps downward and then put the little felt pad, and then when you put the spool on there, that will actually sit nicely. So here we go. There's your spool. So I put the spool cap down, little felt pad, and then the spool on top of it. Now most of the time I'm going to put my spool on the horizontal spool pin, and so what I do need to do is use a spool cap that will fit the spool end that I'm working with, and that's why there's also a smaller one. So if you have some smaller spools ends, this one goes with that one, bigger ones for your bigger spools. So you've got a couple extra of those, but for right now I'm going to just put this into the back part as well, and saving the multi-purpose tool for last. There's three uses we will use this for. Number one, you do see a little hole in it, and it does have kind of a hole but a flat side. So it's kind of D-shaped, and that's perfect for taking out your needle. So as you loosen it, it drops into this tool instead of the machine. Nice. And also for inserting a needle, so you can drop the needle in and then lift it up. A little helpful tool to get that in there. Next, we do use the multi-purpose tool for doing denim or going over really thick seams, and you'll notice it's kind of thin on one side and thicker on the other, and that helps go up and over some of those gigantic bumps that you're stitching over. And then next, if you ever want to sew a button on and need a little spacer for the thread, so there's room for the second piece of fabric to button on, then you put this on the fabric, your button on top of it, and then stitch your button on, and that leaves that little gap or extra thread needed for that. So great little tool, love that. But look, everything fits perfectly in your machine, and everything is right at your fingertips.